you started filming, I'm just staying like this the whole time.
All right. So I'm Jeff. What are your names?
I'm Louisa.
Louisa?
I'm Trin.
Isaac.
Okay. Great. That ice cream looks really nice, actually. How come, or did you choose 2 flavors or just one?
One.
Oh, and you guys went with the double.
Yeah,
Wow.
I got body shamed, so I only have one.
Right. So while you're enjoying your ice cream, just want to ask you some big picture questions. So the first question is, where in the beginning, where did the universe come from?
Big Bang. Lots of things went wrong. It was like, isn't it like you get real small? Like the atoms are smaller than atoms, like protons all like megally. Blah, blah, blah. I watch a lot of videos on this.
But where did they come from?
Heat, energy can't be created or destroyed.
Of humanity.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I would just say a Big Bang. I'd say something sciencey that we don't know. I don't believe in God or anything.
Okay. So, but you're pretty sure God had nothing to do with it, but...
Yeah, because who created God?
Okay. Yeah, good question. What do you guys think?
I mean, I grew up in church, so I do believe that God had to do it.
Okay.
Do it, so, yeah. That's my answer. God.
Okay. So we have a Big Bang and God. Now you're in the middle. You've got to break the tie.
Yeah, no, I also believe in God, so probably God as well.
Okay, and what? So your friend here went with Big Bang, but how do you explain, how do you reconcile science and your belief in God?
I mean, it's pretty hard because I do a science degree and it's all about evolution and whatever. So I don't know. It's tough. It's like it's a bit of a mix. I don't really know what I think anymore, but it's a bit of a mix. So.
Would you say your belief in God has been put into question, I guess, based off?
Oh, I'd say so. Not put into question. It's sort of in a way, just by because every day all I'm learning is that it's wrong. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I used to have to go to church, and then I took a science class.
So do you feel like, can you be a Christian and a scientist?
I mean, I'm sure it's possible. It would be hard, but it is possible.
Maybe not an evolutionary scientist.
I mean, that's like my whole degree.
Are you in like microbiology
No, I
or
do ecology?
Ecology.
So it's all about evolution. And all
Okay.
that, so, but.
Okay. The next question is kind of more ethics. Like, why is there so much suffering and bad stuff in the world?
I introduced psychology. So I would say that humans are bad by nature. Like, I would say humans are kind of like greedy by nature, or that, like, I don't know, we're all pretty selfish by nature. You kind of have to learn to not be selfish. But like growing up, you definitely are selfish and selfishly driven. Like, my sister's first word was me. Like, yeah, it is so. But I would say, yeah, that's why there's a lot of suffering, because everyone's mainly out for themselves and they're not thinking of the greater good of other people all the time.
So from an evolutionary viewpoint, though, looking out for yourself is what we should do. So why should we? Why should we even say that it's bad to be selfish?
Because you can achieve more by working together than you can by working by yourself. Teamwork is actually way better than just individual work. That's what I'd say.
Okay. What do you guys think? Why is there so much suffering in the world?
Because of people like you, Trin.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Free will? I don't know.
I agree that humans are inherently bad. They are kind of just looking out for themselves and whatever, and everyone's just kind of, there's bias in everything. You can never truly be like, oh, I don't care about myself and whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
you always are going to.
Yeah, simulation.
It's just a Truman show.
Yeah, everyone's just living in a Truman show.
But yeah, no, I agree. I agree that they are inherently bad through nature. You can't get away from that.
Would that include yourself?
Oh yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
I'd say everyone's bad. You're bad. You're bad.
Yeah, I'd say I'm pretty selfish sometimes.
Is there absolute right and wrong?
No, that's a matter of perspective.
Yeah, it's all about perspective. Yeah.
There's always grey areas. There's no black or white in that.
Is genocide always wrong, or is it sometimes right?
I mean, because someone has to think it's right to do it.
Yeah,
so,
I'd say not everyone, like Hitler thought it was okay, but obviously it's not. Like, where most people would agree, that's not okay, but obviously you have those extremists that are like, it's fine.
So in their perspective, it's okay, but it isn't.
So that's why I'd say there's no absolute right or wrong, but I'd say there's like everyone has their own morals, and those morals dictate what everyone's absolute right or wrongs are.
Also based on your life experiences, things that put you through, like make you believe certain things.
Yeah.
Not make you believe something.
Well, but the Nuremberg trials held the Nazis accountable based off an objective standard.
Did they really? Because they had to choose whether they just, they had to choose, because when you think about it, how can you say in that instance who was guilty? Like, where did the guiltiness stop? Where did the responsibility, accountability stop? Was it just with, the high top bureaucrats? Was it with, the officials and stuff? Was it with the soldiers? Or was it with the accountants that worked at all of the, Auschwitz and stuff? The accountant just let it happen. So it's they held some people responsible, but not everyone.
But the fact that they held some people accountable means that they believed it was objectively wrong. So,
but then the people on trial didn't find it objectively wrong.
Oh, so okay, so
that's what I'd say. Is there's not. I think that everyone has their own, and it definitely seems groups.
I understand that people have differences of opinion regarding ethics, but my real question is, yes, but is there an ultimate right and wrong? Because when I asked you all about when you were talking about human nature, you said people are inherently bad.
Selfish.
That implies that they're
selfish. I wouldn't say bad.
Okay. That implies that there's a standard that says selfishness is wrong and love is right.
Yeah.
Would you agree that love is better than selfishness?
Yeah, 100%. Although I would say sometimes you do have to be selfish and look out for number one. Because that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. That's my life motto. That is my absolute quote. You got to look out for number one because ain't nobody else going to look for you.
100%.
But that's why I'd say it's really hard. It's one of those questions that it's you can always answer it a different way. And you can always justify it a different way.
Okay. The next question is, how can we change human nature, or can we change human nature so that everyone is loving and kind and thoughtful towards others and works as a team, like you were suggesting?
I think.
Do you mean is it possible, physically possible?
Yeah. How do we make an ideal society?
Lactose intolerant girl has 2 ice cream.
Why am I holding this? Hold this.
I don't know, parents. But yeah, I don't know if it is possible. Is it?
Actually, no. I don't think realistically it's possible, but it is possible if people want to believe in a joint effort for everyone to become better.
Yeah.
But I don't think
But everyone's so different.
Yeah, I don't think people are willing to do that.
Well, I think it's
everyone.
Everyone's going to have such different life experiences that they're not going to have the same thoughts. You know what I mean? And so it's the only way to do it is if everyone kind of went through the same thing, but that's impossible without
the world is so diverse that it is impossible for everyone to agree on one thing.
Yeah, everyone's because it comes back to the being inherently selfish. Someone's going to want to do something more for themselves than other people.
Yeah, they'll find a way where one thing benefits them more than someone else.
Yeah, and also people literally have psychological problems where they can't care about other people. So
that's mental health and stuff is an issue.
You really want to go into it. We could really go into that one.
Okay. So how's it all going to end for the human race?
Oh, we'll go into an extinction. We're going to wipe ourselves out.
Yeah, I think
100%.
I don't know.
We're destroying our planet. We're destroying all our resources. We're manufacturing the environment to suit us rather than suiting ourselves to the environment.
Like the white rhino just went functionally extinct, and then
all of our biodiversity is going to be gone. We're going to be eating crickets or insects. I do not have any hope or faith in the human race. We're gonna die. We're gonna make ourselves die.
So you said you don't think about it.
I don't think about it because to be honest, it's going to be past my time. I mean, I'm going to die before this happens.
No,
so inherently, selfishly,
Yeah,
that's why I don't want to have kids.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking about my kids. I was like, well, I don't want my kids to live in a really horrible place.
Yeah, but
so I'm not going to have kids because they're going to live in a horrible place.
They're just going to have to battle through it, I guess.
That's good luck.
Who are your favourite interviews so far?
This will be a crack up. Yep.
Yeah, just good luck, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about our own death? I mean, the fact is that our lives are finite. We may live 70, 80 years, but ultimately we're going to breathe our last breath. What happens after death?
You go back to where you were before. You go home. Because we weren't anywhere before. So we just go back to that.
To nothingness.
But how do we know it was nothingness? Because we don't know what happened before.
Okay.
Maybe this is just a random little blip. And then we go back home and we're like, yo, I forgot I was from here.
Okay. All right. Interesting. But you can't prove...
You can't prove anything after death.
Okay. So what do you guys think?
I mean, obviously I believe in heaven and everything. So, that's my viewpoint.
I can't believe in heaven. I'm not a good enough person.
What about hell?
Oh yeah, obviously. So both, depends on whether you've chosen to be saved and whatever. So.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
so-
heaven and hell, going back home, which is interesting.
To nature.
What do you think?
Heaven as well. But I like completely understand the viewpoint of like we can never prove it. So like going back, if it's not heaven, like if it's like something, I don't know. Like Lou and I have talked about this before. Like
We've
energy,
been talking about this kind of stuff
kind
a
of
lot.
like how energy can't be created or destroyed. So maybe it's like sort of not
It's gonna get
reincarnated. I'm not saying reincarnated.
repurposed.
Repurposed into something else. Like lives through something else. I don't know.
Interesting. Okay. So the last question is, what is the purpose of life?
Quick question.
I love how people are walking by and they're like asking you the purpose of life.
I never can answer this.
Yeah, I don't know. I think about it often.
I would
but
say
don't know.
biologically, if you want like the absolute most basic answer, it is obviously to reproduce because every single species is
That
equipped
is,
to
yeah.
reproduce as fast as
Yeah.
possible. Like rabbits, we just got rabbits. What?
And you're
And like, wow,
Your family
they are
did?
really designed to like reproduce, yeah. But like, that's what I'd say. Like biologically, we're just designed to like reproduce, live, like make the species go on for as long as possible. But I don't. If you want like an actual meaningful one, I would.
I don't know. I think about it often, but I don't know.
I struggle to find.
I'm
myself.
19. I have no idea. I've lived like a quarter of my life. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
I still don't know why I'm living it.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully I'll work it out one day. But right
And-
now, I don't know.
In society, it just feels like you're meant to get a job.
But it's got to be more than that, right?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Just,
well, I would like to be like to be happy.
yeah, I guess I don't know. Be the best person you can be.
That's
I
what I
guess.
was gonna say, yeah.
'Cause I mean,
That
no matter
again
what.
implies a standard of good and bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
It does.
I guess I don't know. Try your hardest. I don't know.
Toward what goal, though?
You.
What makes you happy? I guess.
What if that's hurting other people, like in the case of Hitler?
I mean,
Yeah, thank you.
Then
So I just did too.
you're probably gonna. I don't know. You're not gonna live very long. I mean, someone's gonna come hunt you down.
Okay.
No, he might have escaped the bunker.
True. Living in Argentina or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
Can I share with you another viewpoint just to give you something to consider?
Yeah.
Sure.
So I'm a Christian, and I think that the Bible gives really good answers on all of these questions, and it's basically creation, fall, rescue, restoration. So it all starts at creation. The Bible says, in the beginning, God created the universe, and then He created human beings.
Where was he while he was doing this?
Yeah, because you did mention who created God. So God, by definition, is uncreated. He's, even Aristotle talked about unmoved mover, but that was an impersonal unmoved mover. In Christianity, it's a personal God who's actually three persons in one God, the Trinity, and the Trinity created the universe before. Yeah, Trinity. So God was there before the space-time matter universe was formed. And actually physics shows us that there was a beginning of the universe.
Yeah.
So there's an argument for the existence of God called the cosmological argument. It says anything that begins to exist must have a cause. The universe began to exist. Therefore, the universe has a cause. And the cause must be spaceless, timeless, and immaterial because the universe is space-time. No, energy was created. Space-time, matter, energy.
I thought energy can't be created or destroyed.
After the universe is created, yes.
Oh, okay.
But for energy to even be there, that has to be created. So basically, human beings are made in the image of God. We are special. We're different from the animals. We have stewardship responsibility for the earth. You're studying ecology. You're actually fulfilling that mandate of why we're here.
Do you believe we were evolved from chimps though?
No. I don't get behind that. That ain't right. I ain't no monkey.
There's some similarities between us and animals, but there's also significant differences like reason, art, aesthetics. Yeah.
Like through ecology and stuff, they often, and zoology, all the time, they just say like, oh, we have no idea why this is the case. They're like, oh, we just think that this happened because of this. And they're like, I don't know, somehow along the way, this turned into this, and we don't know how. but we just guess that this happened. So they
Yeah.
don't really have a lot of the answers. But
That's true. And thanks for saying that. I think that is often the case with science. We're dealing with things that we make our best guess, but ultimately we don't really know. And
But we don't really know about God as well. Like, the argument goes both ways.
well, see, the whole Christianity, the whole basis of Christianity is that we can know there's a God from creation, but that same God revealed himself to us through history and through a series of prophets that revealed what he's like and what his plan is. And so that plan really centers off rescuing us from sin and death, because in Genesis 3, Adam and Eve eat from the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and sin and death enter the world as a result. And that's the source of the problems that we see in our world today.
Selfishness.
Yeah, so selfishness is actually not our original design, according to the Bible. Actually, love is, but we've been corrupted, and so now we're selfish. And God sent Jesus into the world to save us from sin and death, to bring us back to love.
Do you think, this is a question for you, sorry, even though you're interviewing me. Do you think that, like, you know, because I did go to church and I have, like, done a bit of that kind of stuff. One side of my family is religious, the other is scientists. But I was, like, wondering if you think that a lot of the Christians and, like, Christianity in today's world has been, like, warped from what it was meant to be. Because, like, if you think about Jesus, like, when I read about him, like, yeah, like, he wanted everyone to love each other no matter what.
Amen.
But then you have all of these, like, hate crimes, you have all of this, like, homophobia and racism going around the world.
Sexual
But that's, like,
abuse
clearly
and
that's not
everything,
what God or Jesus wanted. So it's, like, a lot of people are just, like, using the Bible. This is what I really don't like. They're using the Bible and Christian values to justify behavior that is not Christian in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I mean, even the churches that I grew up in, there's the amount of people at the top that are just money hungry, and they say they're doing it for the right
Yeah, I
causes,
think it's been warped
but
into
are
something
just
like-
after a fat little paycheck.
Yeah, my pops
Exactly,
often says he's like, there's a lot more true Christians out of
Yeah.
church than in it. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably
Like,
quite
there
true.
are-
Like,
there
there's
are-
obviously still some in church as well. But sometimes there's a lot of people that are acting the way that, like, Jesus said without actually...
To just make sure they've got money in their pocket at the end.
Yeah.
I like how you guys are putting your focus on Jesus himself, because that's really the key. Human beings, like you said, are basically flawed, basically bad. And that's true of Christians too.
Yeah.
That's why
It's true
Christians
of
say
everyone.
we need Jesus, because we don't need just his example. We also need his cross. The fact that he died for our sins, because we're the problem. You know, we're hypocrites just as much as anyone else.
We're the problem for the whole earth, though, as well. Like,
100%
100%. We're killing the earth. Like, we're killing all the animals.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, why aren't we like animals that fit in with the world instead of trying to make the world fit in with us? I hate it.
Yeah.
I get so mad.
Yeah, it's frustrating, and that's really the result of sin. It's the result of putting ourselves
selfish.
first.
And not
And
thinking
so
about others.
Jesus was the ultimate example of living for others, and he did that through the cross. And when he was dying on the cross, he was paying for our sins. And when he rose from the dead on the third day, he was defeating death. So sin and death are defeated in him. And through simple faith in him, we can have the free gift of eternal life. That's why my kids, they're there. That's why we come out here, to just share the hope. Because otherwise, it doesn't seem to be a whole lot of hope.
Oh, definitely
yeah,
not.
That's pretty valid.
Not in this world, eh?
But it's true, and you know, it's not a fairy tale. Like, there's historical evidence for Christ. Like, he was a real person, and he died on a real cross.
Yeah.
And the evidence that he rose from the dead, if you look at it objectively, is actually very strong. I'm an attorney by trade, and I think the objective evidence for his resurrection is really good. Even non-Christian historians admit that he died on a cross in about 30 AD, that he was really buried in the tomb, and that the tomb was empty, and that the apostles really did believe that he rose from the dead. Now, they still say, well, it can't happen, therefore it didn't happen.
Or maybe
But they're in philosophical naturalism where miracles can't happen. But that's a closed box system. Why does it, has science proven beyond a reasonable doubt that we live in a closed box? No. How could it? It lacks the ability to say that. We can't prove that. And so Christianity says usually things happen in an orderly manner by the laws of science. That's because God made the laws of science to function that way. But God can intervene anytime he wants to, here and there, to move his plan along.
Things you can't explain.
Even in our own lives, I'm sure there's been miracles or things that can't be explained naturalistically.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And even just love and grace and, so thanks for your time. You're done with your ice cream, but I just want to encourage you to believe in Jesus Christ. I mean, I did that when I was about your age, and believe me, I am so happy I made that choice, because walking with God, having a relationship with God, having confidence in the future, knowing that you're going to go to heaven not because you're a good person, but because of Christ, and that's the right way to live. And in the next world that's coming, we get to be good stewards, but without sin and death. And love will prevail. So you're getting ready for the next life already. Yeah. Just make sure you're going there through trusting in Christ. Yeah. We'll be there together. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
okay, so God bless you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me pause this.